Is that the way it's gonna be? I don't fucking know. There we go. I gotta look here today. I don't know if my monitor's too big or just the setup is wrong. Oh well. We will make it through. Real? Can't see the fucking things. Damn it, here we go.
Are you just trying to navigate adulthood in a world that still expects you to have it all figured out? Welcome to This Is 50 with your host, Travis Holmes.
Where do you want to go today? Well, I can go this route. What's that noise? I hear something. We got a different camera set up here. I'm just trying to change it up a little bit. Over on the This Is 50 podcast. I took my dad to lunch the other day. And the reason why I took him to lunch is because he kind of gets left out when my wife and I, who don't see each other very much during the week, we'll take, an afternoon off on Saturday or something like that, like 3, 4 o'clock, and go have, drinks and then have dinner and relax and enjoy each other's company. And I'll just sit here and twiddle my thumbs. I have leftovers or something. So when my wife was out of town this past week, I said, I'll take my dad to, I'll take him out, get something to eat. And he's one for, going to get, he wants me to drive. So we can have a beer. That's the main thing. He's 78 years old. If we go somewhere, he knows that he can get a draft beer and he doesn't have to worry about driving home. Now, me on the other end, I don't care. I'll drink as many beers as I can. No, I moderate my beer and stuff because I don't want to get arrested or anything like that driving home. But we are out in the middle of nowhere. We are in North Carolina. We are on 2-lane country roads. There's not a whole lot of quote unquote like traffic stops or police or anyone. They're just itching to do something. They got enough to do. We have a small town of maybe 4 deputies, Barney Fife, with a 1 bullet type deal. That's what we live in. So took my dad to lunch and he had a beer and then he had another one. I was like, whoa, Dad, that's unlike you having, 2 big 16-ounce big boys getting hammered. So I had 4 within an hour and he had 2 within an hour. And on the way home, he gets a little talky. Just like a lot of boys and their dads, they don't get along. I say don't get along. There's not a whole lot of communication there. It's kind of just a bunch of grunts and moans and, yeah, you all right? Yeah, okay, good. You want to talk to your mom? Yeah, all right. If I call the house, he picks up the phone. Hey, you want to talk to your mom? Yeah. Hand the phone to my mom. Oh, where you been? You don't stop by the house anymore. Because I'm 5 states over. But on the way home we went to lunch on Tuesday. This past Tuesday, we went to lunch. And he was, I don't know if it's been bothering him or whatever, but he was like, I was like, hold on, let me finish the sentence here. He was like, 78. How old are you now? I said, 51, Dad. Thanks for playing at home. I'm 78. I didn't think I'd live this long. And I said, well, what do you mean, Dad? What do you mean you didn't think you were going to live this long? Well, I, smoking for, 50, 40 some odd years or whatever the number was that he threw at me. He was born in Fayetteville. Sorry, I always say Lafayette. Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is a very, very tobacco-driven town. That was their crop that they had. And his uncle owned owned a gas station, and they started doing the tax on the cigarette packs during his lifespan. And he would bring packs home of cigarettes with no tax stamps on them. And he'd throw them on the table, and everyone would grab their pack and stuff. And this is like in the 50s and late to mid 50s. And he smoked. That was the lifestyle. That was what you did. We didn't know back then that was bad. And he was saying, I'm 78 years old. I didn't think I'd last this long. And then he, drunk rambling. He was not drunk, just a little loose lips, a little, a little sip of the juice gets you a little thinking on stuff. And he was like going, you might not have been here if it wasn't for your mother. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's how the system works, husband, wife, boy, girl, that type deal. He goes, no, he's like, I was a rebel as a kid. He's like, I grew up and I bucked the system and did all that stuff. And I go, oh, well, that's probably where I get mine from him. And it's weird how that works, that, you're not really around, or that parent's not around long enough to influence you that way. But yet somewhere deep down inside of you, you have that rebel mentality. Now, I've never seen my dad buck the system or anything like that growing up. Like I said, he was not really around a whole lot. Oh, no, he was working all the time. He was trying to provide for the family. But I still had that bucking the system in my blood. And he said when he was young, before when him and my mom were dating, and back then they didn't have a whole lot of partners, a whole lot of courtmanships. It was like 1 or 2 dates, and then you married that girl. That was it. Not like me. I told him, I said, Dad, I'll get into that here one second. So he was getting ready to pack his shit and move out. I guess mom and dad just got married or something like that. And he was ready to pack his shit and move out because my mom was trying to control him, trying to control what he did and what he, and he was like going, fuck this shit. I'm out of here is what he said. And he's never like cursed or did any like bad words and stuff to me. But he was like going, I was ready to leave him. And your mom stopped me and said, don't leave. In the back of my mom's mind was because I can completely control you. That was the way my mom was sadistic that way. And this is not a whole, like I said, it's not a woe was me show, but it was just this conversation. And I was thinking to myself, I said, well, that's the difference between my marriage and your marriage. He goes, how's that? I said, I didn't get married till I was 40-something years old. I said, I went through all that already with all my past girlfriends. I said, Dad, how many girls did I bring home to Thanksgiving dinner and or Christmas or anything like that? Oh, I've seen a couple of them. I'm like, oh, yeah. And then my mom got tired of me, this rotating door of girlfriends coming through, that she stopped it. She's like, this is not a family like that, Travis. That's my mom. This is not a family where you just keep having girlfriends left and right. We don't even want to get to know them because they're not around by next year. We don't want to put that time, Travis. You shouldn't be doing that. You should find yourself a nice girl and settle down and get married. Fuck that. I'm young. I got my own money and I got my own stuff. I'm catcalling around town. And, if a girl was around long enough during the holiday season, I'd bring them over to, I'm bringing, whoever home to, no. I said, then I'm not coming. It's that easy. And my mom got to a point where I just quit going to like Christmas and stuff like that. I'm not going over there. No, unless you have whatever girlfriend. And unfortunately, that's sad that that's the way my mom was, but I can see her point of it. But I think that's the only thing that I wish would have happened with my wife that I have now. My wife sees, and we've been married 10 years now, but I didn't get married, like I said, till I was like in my early 40s, and she's 7 years younger than I am. And I got all that, like I said, catcalling and all that stuff out of my system. I wish my mom would have taken the time to get to know Amy, and didn't care, didn't want anything to do with her, had her over, cold shoulder. We spent one Christmas together, and it was on the cusp of a breakup that I just had like 6 months earlier. And she's like, how are you going to bring this girl around? Here's another one that Travis bringing around or whatever. And I was like, and so that was it. My dad said, he almost walked out on my mom, but they were young age. And I was like, the reason why I married my wife is because I went through all that with girlfriends. I wanted to make sure that whoever I was going to marry, I got all that shit out of my system. Now, I'm not going to say my wife and I had the perfect marriage. There have been times where she's had to pick me up off the floor. There has been times, oops, I could turn that off. There have been, where's my goddamn phone? Oh, it's over there. There has been times where we've had arguments, and I've been pissed and woke up the next morning and what did I say? Oh shit! Now I gotta go cap or tail between my legs type deal. So that was it. That my dad was just like going on and on about growing up and me as a kid and this not drunk, just one of those. He was trying to connect, and I appreciated that. Because I guarantee you that was the most we've talked about that scenario about my dad's past. That's the most we've talked. Well, when you're trapped in a car and you got to drive 10 miles, I mean, you don't talk about much. That's the time that he did. And that's probably the most that we talked in the last, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know. That was the most that he opened up, I guess is what I'm saying. So we lost power again. Yep. We lost power here at the old ranch that we live on. And I'll dive into the stories as far as what happened and what I had to do to keep the lights on here at the house. So stick around. I'll be right back. As you go, that totally started off wrong. As you guys might know, I do several different podcasts. And if you're watching this here on the YouTube video, you can see me here in the studio. I've changed the camera angles up a little bit just to give you a different perspective of my nose hairs, essentially is what I'm doing. But the banners behind me is some of the shows that I do. I do this show on Friday. I do a show on Monday. I do a show on Wednesday. And they're all different topics, different things. The show on Monday is a horse show about equines because I do have horses here. My wife rides semi-professional. She hasn't, she gets trophies and stuff for entering competition and, maybe a little bit of money. Not a whole lot of money, but she gets a little bit of money doing that. And then the show I do on Wednesday is an entertainment wrap-up or entertainment, not wrap-up, more of a guess what's going to happen this week. This is what people are going to be talking about in the next couple days or so, and we try to get on top of that and kind of break those stories. So, but the advertisements that I get on the entertainment show, as I told you last week, we had a French guy, Pepe Le Pew, and we did his promotion, and I played his song last week. He was all worried about everything, and as far as how I pronounce his name, and it's spelled Geoffroy, Georffroy, and I pronounce it, like a stupid American. That's Geoffroy, but he's like, no, it's Jeswa. And I go, okay, Jeswa. And he's like, no, you have to pronounce it Jeswa. And this is all through emails and stuff. And I'm like, all right, I got it. Boom. I'm spelling it phonetically as best I can. Played a song. His promotion went well during there's the entertainment show right there. That one. He watched his numbers, looked at his numbers. Numbers came back, and he was like, holy, thank you very much. Like going, you're welcome. So he bought another package for another song that he did. Independent artists, they just can bang them out. They don't really put a whole lot of effort into them. Some of them. So Jeswa signed up for another package. I'm like, all right, great. He's going to do something now with lyrics. The whole stifle of the last one that he did, he's like, oh, make sure you spell my name right and make sure all this and you say my name right. And I'm like, all right. And I'm thinking it's make sure it's broadcast to French countries or French. I'm like, okay, all right there, Geoffroy. We'll get it to those countries. And then we play the song and there's absolutely no lyrics at all. It's just music. So he buys another package. And I'm like, all right, great, cool. I'm going to hear something from Geoffroy, Sechwa. And I get the package and he signs up and, the check clears and all that. And I'm like, all right, so filling everything out, and he agrees to the package, and he's like, all right, everything's good. And I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, this one is called the Washburn. And I go, okay, Washburn. So this is his new song. Let me take it off the mute here. And this is the one that his latest package signed up for. I'm like, all right, great. It's going to be a French song. It's going to be amazing. Oops. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to, make sure that it gets over to like Quebec and Canada and France and all that. Make sure everyone listens to a song. And here it is. This is Je Suis. Got it. All right, here's your lead in. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Still nothing. That was the second song that he had produced out, and it's called Washburn. Not that I'm promoting him on this show, because I'm just kind of picking fun of him. And no lyrics still. No lyrics. It's just music. Is it music? Is it supposed to be dance music? Is he supposed to have a DJ collect that song and go, oh man, your lips and hooks? Is that what it is? Your licks and hooks are magnifique. We're going to put that on an album somewhere. And I'm like, But, everyone in their mind, they've got this whole delusion that they are better and greater than who they are. Or they just, for the art of it. I appreciate, I'm knocking him, I'm making fun of him. But, he's bold enough to go out there and create a song with absolutely no lyrics on it and make sure that it's only to French people, because nobody else would understand that music, right? Of course, it's French and French in itself. We lost power the other day. And this is after Helene went through. I always say Helena. This is a week after Helene went through, and we didn't get touched at all. We did lose power around 3 o'clock in the morning, I think, and then about 6 o'clock in the morning, and around 3:30 that afternoon, it came back on. Living in Florida, which is where I'm from, born and raised in Orlando, Florida, when a hurricane comes through, we lose power for days. And granted, not a whole lot of hurricanes have come through to where we've lost power for days, but we do. I mean, out of my whole entire lifetime down there, we might have lost power. The worst one was in 2004. I keep going over and over that, where Charlie, Jean, and Francis came through all at once, and we were out of power for 3 weeks. So we relied on little portable generators, and that made a whole scare through the whole neighborhood. The whole it shook Florida, and people were getting generators and stuff. So it made things uncomfortable for my dad. He, his whole entire entertainment system is in his room. And I say entertainment system, his only means of reason for living outside of, being me and being 78 years old and proud that he made it this far. And my wife works from home, and we got a system down. If we lose power, I've got a strip club, a power strip that goes to the refrigerator in the kitchen from the generator outside. We just got like one, power strip to the refrigerator, and then off of that you can hook up whatever you want in the kitchen. If you want to do a microwave, that's fine. If you want to do all that stuff, you can just plug it in on that strip. Run another power cord to my wife's office. She's got it down. It's one power strip in the wall that controls all her stuff. She pulls it out and plugs it in. Boom. Her office is ready to go. One power strip going all the way to the router so she can have internet. Boom, she's done. And then we got one that comes out to the garage for the deep freezers and the walk-in coolers for the eggs that we sell. Well, this makes my dad uncomfortable because he's like, well, I got nothing to do. And I'm like, Dad, I can run a cord into your room. No, it's okay. Because he doesn't have when he plugged everything in, it's like, willy-nilly plug over here, willy-nilly plug over here, 2 plugs over here. He's like, I don't have enough outlets in my house or my room and stuff. All right, whatever. So he said to me the other day, power comes back on. He said to me the other day, I'm going to buy you a generator. And I say a generator. What do you mean like a generator? I said, Dad, I got a generator right here. No, you need a whole house generator. I don't know why he sounds like Hank Hill. Bobby? He goes, you need a whole house generator. And I said, okay. He goes, but I want to buy you one. Dad, do you know how much these things are? Uh-huh. I looked at them online. How much are they? $7,000. I said, for what, Dad? What are you getting for $7,000? No, I don't know, but they'll come out and they'll... blah, blah, blah. I said, how many amps is it, Dad? Can it run the AC? Can it run the heater? Can it run the refrigerator? Can it run your room? Can it run the... I'm throwing all these questions at him. I said, how much they charge to install it? How much is this? How much, whatever, blah, 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 back and forth. He's like, I don't know. Then he got down and said, I want to see my money that he has, because he sold his house in Florida, made over, I don't know, several $100,000 on that house. My mom, actually, sorry, I had that right the first time. My mom's life insurance policy, and then he's got whatever he had. He found like a hidden account that my mom was like nest egging away for some reason. It had like $35,000 in it. So he's got like all this money, but he doesn't want to spend it because he feels bad, because whatever, he feels bad. He's like, this wasn't mine. This was all your mom's doing. This is not my money. This is, your mom has done all this, and I didn't contribute to it because technically it's not my money, is what he says. So when I pass away, you can have it all. I'm like, good. Thumbs up. And I'm looking at the clock going, all right, when's this happening? But he said, after the second time we lost power for like maybe 3 hours. A couple days later, and he was like, he's like, I'm going to buy a generator, whole house generator. I said, Dad, I'm thinking in my mind, there's more stuff. You want to see money being spent well? I guess in my mind, I'm like going, we need this. We need this. We need the, A, B, C, and D. But this is like on our list as far as stuff to buy. Like, I need a new garbage disposal. It works fine. It's just loud. We need a new garbage disposal. I need a new faucet because the faucet, the gears on it in the kitchen, they're getting worn. Just, all right, new faucet, just, replace that. The little things like that. But he said he wants to spend his money, and he wants to see the money go to a good place or enjoy his spending. And I said, okay. So I signed up through Home Depot because I worked there for 20 years back in the day. From 18 to 38 years old, I don't know. I worked there. So I know if I'm going to get a generator, I'm going to get something from somewhere that's a brick and mortar store that's going to be around. Like if I got problems or anything with it. So this Wednesday coming up, I've got a guy coming out to assess what we need as far as a generator. Whole house generator. Now, because we're out in the sticks, we broadcast just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, a little town called Marshville. We have propane, septic tank, and a well. So we're technically off the grid, outside of like cable and the power company or anything like that. So we don't have a water bill. We have a well, and the water up here is beautiful. It's like spring water. My dad comments on it all the time when he takes a glass of water. He's like, best water I ever had. And we got propane, gas propane that does the stove and the heat, the water heater, and the heat for the house. So whatever generator we get, it's going to be a propane generator. So I'm interested to see what we need and what we're actually going to get with this generator, this whole house generator. Now, I think it's too much. If it's $15,000 to $20,000, I'm like, there's got to be a cheaper way. And the reason why I say that is because my neighbor next door, he's got in his box, his electrical panel, he's got a breaker that he can throw and throws everything off on the house. And down below, he's got a plug where he plugs in the same generator that we have here, the brrrr, into the house. And it'll turn the lights on in the house. It'll do, I think it goes up to, I don't know how many amps he says it will do or will handle, but it'll turn his refrigerator on. He doesn't have to run cords or anything like that. He just fires it up and plugs it into the panel box and throws the breaker just in case the power comes back on. And, it doesn't backfill or whatever and shock someone. So maybe that's an answer. And that's the answer I want, because that's going to be so much less money. And I was talking to my neighbor about it, and what he had to say about his generator And he's an airline pilot. Smart man. You would think he'd be a smart man, but he did something the other day, and I was like, oh, what are you doing, you dummy? So I'll dive into that little conversation that we had as far as his little generator. So stick around. I'll be right back. My wife gets mad at me when I go to the bathroom. I know. That's a loaded statement in itself. No, my wife, she gets mad at me when I go to the bathroom. And when I say go to the bathroom, I'm talking like number one, right? Now, here, the studio that you're looking at us on, if you're watching this over on the This Is 50 Show YouTube channel, this studio that we have, this is kind of the reason, one of the reasons why we bought this house. We have a 3-car garage. And they finished the upstairs or above the car garage. And they were a Christian music group. You know, they play at the local church and stuff. So they had like a mixing board in here. They've got, the walls are all designated for like headphones. It was all wired to have a recording group in here or practice or whatever. And I walked in and we were walking around the house. Now the house was beautiful, of course. I'm not going to buy a shitty ass dump. But this was like, all right, this is it. This is the house that we're going to get outside of the property, the 22 some odd acres, and we could do all that stuff. But this room was wired to have headphones, XLR cables. Nobody uses those anymore. And a bunch of stuff. So, and you can see it's one of those tri-roofs because of the truss and stuff of the building. So this worked out perfect. You know, my wife could have her horses here, and I just kind of designed the studio, painted it, and so the studio is all set to go. But the reason why my wife hates when I go to the bathroom, I don't know how I got on that topic, but anyways, the reason why my wife, because what I was getting at was that downstairs, if I have to go to the bathroom, like pee, after having a couple of these guys, thank you very much, not sponsored yet, but we'd like to be. I go downstairs, and there's a tool room down there. There's a little window. When I say window, full-length window, 36 by 60. I open it up. I've taken a funnel, connected it to a PVC pipe, put some electrical tape on it, and I stick it outside the window. So if I have to go to the bathroom, I don't have to go downstairs, across the garage, all the way on the lanai there, onto the back porch, and then into the bedroom, go to the bathroom, and then come, repeat the process back over here. So I go to the bathroom outside. And the thing I know, everyone's like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is way too much. TMI. But my wife gets mad at me when I use the bathroom in the house. Not that I'm messy, not that anything like that. I'm like peeing on doing the whole Dumb and Dumber thing where I'm peeing in a circle, She gets mad because halfway through my pee, me go in the bathroom urinating, I'll flush the toilet. Now I'm still urinating, but the water and everything is like finishing up and going down. And then she's like, "You're still peeing. Why'd you flush?" And I go, I'll tell you in a second. Then I have to flush again. She's like, "You're flushing twice." I said, I know. So growing up, as a kid, living, with my dad, my mom, trying to keep the family together. I don't know if you guys realize that, like back in the 80s, the toilet tank had 3.5 gallons of water. So as a man, even a woman, as a man or anyone going to the bathroom, you know about when you're about done, right? And the problem was, growing up, my house, as a kid, there was one bathroom, the main bathroom in the hallway. So someone's always waiting, just like, brothers and sisters and stuff. Someone's always waiting to get in the bathroom. So my job was to get in and get out as quickly as possible. So I worked it out in my head that when I get to this certain point of me going to the bathroom, I know this is riveting. What the hell am I listening to? I could flush the toilet, and because of it being 3.5 gallons, it would take forever and ever. And by the time I was done, everything was out, and I could go in and the next person can come right behind me. They didn't have to wait for the water to fill back up and the tank to reload and all that. That's carried on to today. Now, today's water tanks, plumbing 101 here on the This Is 50 show. The tanks only hold, some of them hold 1.2 gallons of water. I think it's gallons. Yeah, it's gallons. So when I get to that same point as a child where I was, potty trained and all that stuff and got to an age where, I need to get on with about my day and peeing and flushing at the same time, I time it all together. My timing is way off now. And my wife, it drives her crazy because normally when I would flush back in 1980, I'd flush at the same time. And then I would not be done and it would already recycle and I'd flush again. I know I'm losing half the audience already. I'm sorry. But it was just one of those things. She's like, I hate when you go to the bathroom and you flush. Hey, you're not done yet. Stop flushing. Stop flushing. You're not done. I'm like, I know. It's a habit. It's a bad habit. I don't know why. My neighbor next door, who's an airline pilot, is a captain. Recently promoted to captain. So what does that mean to you? Absolutely nothing. What it means to him is that now he's capable of doing like international flights and stuff, which is good for him. He's a high man on the totem pole. If he sees like a rainy day and doesn't want to go, he'll call in. Nope. He doesn't do that. He's a very good guy. He's a very nice guy. Very nice gentleman. But sometimes the basic stuff escapes your life. And one of the things that I was thinking about because of his family and the way they're raised and stuff, they are very, very religious oriented. They're very, very process and make your own food type people. They've got 18 acres next door. There's not a whole lot of social media with them. There's not a whole lot of interaction other than their church group. This is the same guy where I do like the proms and the going away parties and all that stuff. There's just not a whole lot of, how do I say it? They're not Mormon, but that Mormon lifestyle where they're kind of secluded away from the rest of the world, which it doesn't make sense. He will buy, this is what absolutely doesn't make any sense. He will buy all battery operated tools, but drives an excursion and flies a plane. Why do you buy the battery operated tools? So I don't pollute the atmosphere. I'm trying to, reduce my carbon footprint. You fly a fucking plane. That's huge and big. And you got an excursion. Now, granted, the reason why he has the excursion is because he had 6 kids at one time, and this was the big thing, the big hauler that used to haul all the kids around. But anyways, I digress. So I'm outside yesterday after the storm came through, and I'm picking all the leaves out of the gutter, and I bought new gutter leaf guard things, and I'm putting those in, and I'm standing on a ladder trying not to fall off of it, and I look across the yard there through the trees, and I can hear this prrr, prrr, prrr. Now, he's got that generator just like ours, a little bit bigger than ours. Whatever. At least mine starts. And he was getting ready to go out of town, and he wanted to make sure that his generator, change the oil and stuff, he wanted to make sure his generator was going to fire up because he plugs it in that little outlet to power up his house when he throws the breaker. He's out there. Brrr, brrr, brrr. So I said, oh, fuck, I'm going to get involved with this. I know it. I'm going to get involved with this. So I finish, whatever strip of gutters I'm working on, like 50 feet of gutters, and I get down off the ladder. Didn't fall this time. And I said, well, let me jump in the side-by-side real quick. Offer my assistance. Go over there. And I'm not going to knock on his door. They're in and out of the house enough. He's in and out of the house enough to where I'll just sit there on the side-by-side, drinking my beer, my roadie. And, I'm going through like TikTok and stuff. Still not on Facebook, by the way. Still not on. Not until after the election, or Instagram. Anything Meta, I'm not on it. Sitting there. And then all of a sudden he just pops out of somewhere. And I'm like, hey, man. And I take my headphones off, not these headphones. But I got like Bluetooth headphones, JBLs. We're sponsored by them by one time. So love to be sponsored by you again. Thank you. Had my JBL headphones on, took them off, and I can hear the generator running. And I said, what's going on, man? He's like, just changing the oil, trying to get this thing fired up for because I'm getting ready to go on a 3-day trip, and I want to make sure that with this hurricane, at the time, Milton was on its way to come through Florida, and we're going to get like bands and bands and feeder bands and stuff. I want to make sure that it's going to supply the house with power and stuff. He goes, but I couldn't get it started. He goes, I changed the oil, I changed the spark plug, I did all this stuff. And I said, okay. He goes, I think this is like maybe the second time he's ever used it. I said, it was just, I just threw it out there as a joke. I said, well, you choked the motor and, fire it up a couple times, and he clicked the choke back over. He goes, there's a choke on this thing? And I'm like, face palm. Yes, there's a choke on this thing. I said, you need to choke it if it hasn't run in at least a week. Oh, this thing hasn't run in months. I haven't fired up in months. He's got a little box that protects it and stuff, rainproof cover and all that. And I go, so you didn't pull the choke? He goes, no, I kept firing it up. I kept firing. He's like, I smell gas. He's like, I know I could smell gas. I said, yeah, because you flooded it. He goes, so there's a choke on this thing? He goes, I forgot to do the choke. What do you mean you forgot to do the choke? There's a choke on this thing? You forgot to do the choke? You're an airline pilot. You are a pilot that flies planes. You are a pilot that flies planes with people inside of those planes. And you go and fly for however many hours. You forgot there was a choke on a simple 4-stroke generator that's at your house? What happens if you forgot? What else have you forgotten? What else have you not known about? Yeah, oh man, I didn't even think of the choke. The choke. There was a choke on it. And then this was on, what's today, Friday, because we do the show every Friday at 1 o'clock. Today we're running late. It's like 3:30 right now. I know I'm always running late on Friday. But this was like Tuesday, Wednesday or something like that. And then Thursday, fired it off or whatever. Or went out there because it was off. He just wanted to fire it up one more time before he left. And he goes, I did the choke. The choke pulled one time, started right up. I said, bam, bammo, got it. Pull your choke. Or touch the choke, or whatever you want to call it. I was in the store, and am I the asshole? I think I intentionally know that I was the asshole in this situation. And it involved a lady who's at least 80, 90 years old. I don't know. Fuck her. You made your choices in life. This is my time. Fuck you. And I'll dive in that story when we come back. So stick around. I'll be right back. You like my shirt? You're watching this on the YouTube channel. Hold on, let me stand up. Get the full effect here. It's called, the shirt that I have is Four Peaks Brewery Studio. And my wife was out in Phoenix. And they all went out to dinner, and they stopped by this place, and my wife says, my husband likes beer, and he's on the radio. I'll get him this shirt from the brewery. So she got me, I went to Phoenix and all I got was this silly shirt. No, I like it. It's a good shirt. There you go. Four Peaks Studio, brewing studio. It was a record place and they start brewing beer out of there. So it's kind of cool. I caught up with Matt the other day. If you don't know who Matt is, well, let me backtrack a little bit. When we first initially started this show, this is 50. It was with a good friend of mine. His name's Shane McManus. And if you listen to the early shows, you can hear all the trials and tribulations he was going through with he's got a daughter that's not terminally ill, but is like on life support, and they brought her home, and he just couldn't deal with doing the show and taking care of her, feeding tube and moving her from, washing her and doing all this stuff. He had a he's having a really rough time. And I reached out to him the other day and say, hey, what are you doing for Halloween? You want to do something and get something together? And he's like, yeah, I can't. I'll try to get a nurse. We were going to go to the local theme park here in the Carolinas, and I'll try to get a nurse to stay overnight because, she needs to be watched, 24 care, and, so on and so forth. So that kind of fell through. But he's still doing the same thing. He's still taking care of his daughter. His daughter's still hanging on. But I feel for him. So if you listen to the past shows, that's what's the latest with Shane. Also, Matt Cochran, who kind of filled in for a little bit for a couple weeks on the show, I reached out with him. He was going through a lot of difficult difficult situations. And if you listen to those shows on the shows with Matt on This is 50, you could tell what he was going through. And we had a long discussion, and he decided to step away. Didn't want to impede this show anymore. I don't want to bring the show down. I've been talking about peeing in a toilet for the last 20 minutes. And I said, well, you need to find something that you need to do and all that. And he was doing a podcast before and he wasn't enjoying it. I said, find a topic that you like and what you're interested in. Even if like one person listens to it, at least you enjoy it. I do this podcast outside of the other two that I do. This is my therapy. This is my therapy as far as getting stuff out of my head so I don't explode in the house. I guess he took that idea and ran with it. He is a vet. I'm unfortunately I don't know exactly what war or what he was in, but he was a vet, and he's 50 something years old, just like me, and he's got his own podcast now dealing with those that were vets and the situations and stuff that they're getting involved with now. Coming out of like Afghanistan and Kuwait and all those other wars now, because, those guys at one time, they were 20, 30 back then. Now they're 50 and just all the stuff they're going through. So I'll put the link down in the YouTube description, but it's the vet files if you want to check them out. Not my shtick because I don't understand military. Shane himself was in the Air Force, so maybe he can go over there. Maybe he'll enjoy that as well. And all you guys out there, if you want to hear a little bit of, good old boys talking about the military and what they went through and what's happening and all the scenarios. So check those out. That's Matt Cochran over there on the Vet Files over on YouTube. I don't think he's got an audio portion of it. I think it's just video. And it's done very well, so check him out. The power went out. I told you. It went out for like 90 minutes. After Helena went through, we lost power for from 6 o'clock in the morning to about 3:30, 4:30 in the afternoon. And that was horrible for my dad during that time. It was the end of the world. Power came back on. No problem. Week goes by. And because we live in, rural USA, we're in Marshville. We're not too segregated from like big cities and stuff. It takes us 10 minutes. We'll be on the highway. We'll be in like Charlotte or whatever in a 30, 40 minutes or so. But the infrastructure of our little town is, soft ground, rain, water, soft ground. Nice big wind comes through. Trees are going to fall. Tree fell on a power line, like right in the middle of the day, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, evening time. I don't know what you decipher what time that is. And the power went out. So I was up here in the studio. I was editing one of that podcast actually right there. That one. And we have little flashlights that when you stick them in the wall, when the power goes out, they automatically click on. So I'm walking around the house, or walking out of the studio, because there's no windows up here. Walk down the stairs, across the 3-car garage, up the lanai, back onto the back porch, and walk in the house. I'm like, is everyone good? My wife's like going, I'm in the middle of work. I'm like, okay. She's like, but I need to get this report done. Can we fire the generator? In the back of my mind, knowing that the power's gonna come on here in a minute or two. If it goes out this late in the evening, it's gonna come on like right away. I said, sure, no problem. Fire up pull the choke, fire up the generator, ran the cord into her room. She plugs in, just like we've always done before. Run a cord to the router and stuff so she can have the internet. Didn't plug the refrigerators in because I know the power is going to come back on. So my dad comes outside and sits on the back porch. He's got a little rocking chair out there. And he's like, is there a way you can hook up a fan in my room? I'm like, what do you mean hook up a fan in your room, Dad? I said, the power's going to come back on in about an hour and a half. Amy, I just hooked it up so Amy could finish her report that she had going on. He goes, I don't want to sit outside. And he's on the back porch and stuff. And it's a nice, cool, breezy day. I said, why? He goes, the flies are eating me. I go, the what? He goes, the flies. And he's like, the flies they're landing on me. Now, for those of you who are at a certain age, not 50, over 50, I guess there's medication and stuff that you take. I haven't been there yet, and I haven't gotten there yet. I hope it's a long way off for me, but it makes your skin easy to bruise. You bump into something, it rips the flesh, and you just start bleeding. So he's got all these constant little scabs and not scars, but all these little scabs over his arm, and his body and his face and hair, and not hair. He doesn't have much hair, but I mean, between the surgeries of his skin cancer and them healing up, and then him just bumping into the hallway door or something like that, and ripping half of his arm off with the skin, and it bleeds, and he'll pat it dry, and the flies they focus in on that. They fly right to him. Ooh, blood, that type deal. I said, oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, Dad, because the flies are eating you up. The flies are eating you up. Let me go hook a fan up in your room. So Amy's sitting there working in her office, and the router's in the middle of the house, and her office off on one of the wings of the house. I said, babe, what? I have to unplug the router so I can plug in a power strip so my dad can have a fan in his room because it gets hot in his room. Why does he just sit outside? I said, because the fucking flies are eating him. I don't know. Well, if it's too much problem for you to do it, can you? I don't mind. I'll just sit out. No, Dad, it's fine. I said, but I have to let her know because I'm going to unplug her internet and it's going to take, 5-6 minutes for it to boot back up and stuff. So you can sit in your room for 45 minutes while we wait for the power to come back on. You just can't sit in the living room? Can't just 45 seconds. Is it driving you insane? Oh, well, I don't know. I really do appreciate. All right, fine, Dad. Power's going up. Router's going off. Power's again. Yelling at my wife. Okay, unplug and plug and put it all back in. And that's not the asshole part. No. The asshole part is. Where do I start on this one? Well, let me do this. I'm gonna take a little break. Because it's going to take me a little bit to get through this one. I don't know. In my mind, I'm tossing around all the options that's going on. But, yeah, I'm going to take a little break. And one more little segment, and then I'll wrap this up. All right, so stick around. I'll be right back. My new backdoor neighbor, his name is James. He works for a chemical company. He's from Jersey. He's Jersey. Lived in a very, very nice town here in North Carolina called Waxhaw, and it's a really nice area. We were thinking about selling this house and moving over there and getting a nice big house and smaller lot type deal. But then we saw what this house is going for right now, and the way they're building up, we're like, no, we'll just sit right here and spend some money and fix the house up, get a new generator so my dad can see it. But I do my 4-mile walk every morning. And I walk, it's a dead-end road. I told you this before. It's a dead-end road or cul-de-sac now because they have houses on it. And I walk back and forth, and I'm meeting the new neighbors as they move into these houses. And James met him, and he said, basically, I said this before, who's that fucking dog that's barking in the backside of the property? He's like, I can't sit on the back porch. I can't enjoy a beer and a cigar on the back porch because there's a fucking dog. I said, yeah, that's my airplane neighbor. They bought a big dog, and they bought it with the kids' ages not really giving a shit about a dog. Like they didn't want a dog. So they lost a dog. They bought this big, huge Siberian, I don't know what it is. It's a big herding dog. Barks all the time. Bark, 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 bark. So I told you the airplane pilot guy went over there and he's like, are you the guy? And they kind of had a conversation and stuff. So when I was over there at the airplane pilot guy and we were talking and told him to pull his choke, I said, so how was the conversation with James? He's like, oh, we got a bark collar for the dog. The dog's doing well. And, you know, I've told my oldest daughter that's still living at home, I think she's like 14, 15, 16 now, to make sure that she spends time with this dog so the dog's not neglected, you know, so on and so forth. And as we're sitting there, all you hear is, and you can probably, if you listen real close in the background, we have one rooster here. The only reason why we have one rooster here, now we have a bunch of chickens and stuff. We buy them from a hatchery. The way we get our chickens in is we order them. You know, we need 10 of these and 5 of these and 10 of these, and then they ship them to us, mail them to us, and within 48 hours we have chickens at our doorstep, and they survive. They survive, and then we have all hens. And hens, they make it, when they lay an egg, and that's about it. So our neighbors next door, they hatch their own. So they actually have one rooster. Well, I don't know if you know this, between the genome as far as the human race, when you have a child, when you have a man and a woman, that's how that happens. When you have a child, it's 50-50. Same thing with chickens. Chickens, they'll have, out of 10 eggs, 4 will be hens and 6 will be roosters, or 6 will be hens and 4 will be roosters, or that type of stuff. So the airplane pilot guy with the barking dog, has about 5 roosters over there, and they're all competing to be the loudest rooster in the morning. So here I am. This isn't the asshole part. So here I am sitting here talking to my neighbor about pulling the choke on his generator to make sure that it fires up, talking about his barking dog that's got a barking collar on it, and there are roosters just clucking, cock-a-doodle doing every 5-6 seconds, and I'm sitting there in my mind going, it was quiet when I moved in. It was quiet. We have horses here. They don't make a whole lot of noise. We bought a bunch of hens. They don't make a whole lot of noise. My neighbor comes in. He's got 6 kids. They make a lot of noises. They hatch their own chickens. Roosters make a whole lot of noises. Barking dogs. They got the barking dogs who the kids don't want to play with and stuff, so the dog barks. And I'm like going, God almighty. It was so quiet. It was so quiet out here. It was so quiet. And now I've got barking dogs and roosters and stuff. No, the reason why I'm an asshole is because this old lady, 80 years old, pissed me off. Pissed me off. So when I go grocery shopping, make a list for everything that we got going on. And the reason why I make a list, do it once a week, I don't leave town, I don't leave the house a whole lot. Hold on. I hate people waiting on me. Hold on. Let me pause this real quick. Sorry. I hate when I don't like people waiting on me to finish this because then I can't concentrate. My dad texted me. He's like, are you recording upstairs? I'm like, well, yeah. I've got a light downstairs that says basically on air. And he didn't want to come downstairs and look to see if the light was on. But so he texted me, are you recording? I'm like, yeah. Okay. And then that's it. I'm like, what the fuck? Does he need something? What's going on? And I look at my phone. Yes, I know. I look at my phone and it says the refrigerator door's open because we have a Samsung, and it lets me know that the refrigerator door's open. So I have to text an all message to all the Alexas that are in the house. Someone please close the refrigerator door. Boo-doo. Here's a message from Travis. Please close the refrigerator door. Doo-doo-doo. So, I know. Oh, God. So, where did I leave off? It just keeps getting better and better. So I make a grocery list because I go grocery shopping once a week. Get everything for the house, and then I can stay home and work on everything here. I'm trying to cliff notes this story, but I want you to get the full effect of and let me know if I'm the asshole or not. You're probably right now going, yeah, you are a fucking asshole already. I don't need the story that you got coming up. But anyways, so one of the things that we're out of here at the house, and that is so fucking expensive, is spices. You know, you go to Walmart and, you know, you try to save money at Walmart and you buy whatever spices and stuff. And you're like going, God damn, it's like $6 for this fucking little 3-ounce thing of spices or whatever it is. Fuck. God damn it. One thing you run out of the house a lot on is salt. That's one. Salt. And then black pepper. I have never in my whole entire life run out of black pepper. I don't know why. Is it because we buy one thing at Costco and it just lasts you like your whole entire lifetime or whatever? And, but for whatever reason, we've run out of black ground pepper. You know, salt and pepper. You know, now we've got the peppercorns, you know, the crunch, 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 crunch. I'm not doing that every time over my eggs. So there was a recipe that I had to make the other day for my wife, and it called for a teaspoon and a half of black pepper. So I'm like, oh, man. And, you know, you got the big plastic container in your hand, and it's like 11 ounces, and you're looking at it, you're like going, I'm almost out of fucking black pepper. So I said to my wife, there is an Ollie's in the next town over. Now, if you don't know what an Ollie's is, it's like almost like a Big Lots. If you don't know what a Big Lots is, join the internet. It's a great place to search and enjoy stuff. Ollie's buys a lot of closeout stuff, clearance stuff, bulk stuff that is, or like third world stuff. You know, you go in there and you're like, it's not Doritos, it's Durangos. You know, it's like, it's not Cool Ranch, it's really neat ranch. You know, that type stuff. And they got spices in there. I'm like, oh, great, cool. This is a nice find because a thing of black pepper, 11 ounce, and I'm talking 11 ounce. This is 12. They don't look the same size now that I think about it. 11 ounce, I guess that's dry ounces. 11 dry ounces of black pepper was $5.99. I'm like, ah, man. So when I get all my spices and stuff, I go to Ollie's. Like if I need like onion powder, if I need garlic powder, if I need, you know, Italian seasoning, if I need, you know, cayenne pepper, all that stuff, I go to Ollie's because it's so much cheaper there. I don't know if they've cut it, they've stomped on it with baby laxative or anything like that. But that everything's cheaper there. So I said to my wife, I said, we're almost out of black pepper. I'm going to stop at Ollie's on the way to going to Walmart. Walmart, my favorite place in the whole world to do stuff. Now, to find people to work at Ollie's, when I say Ollie's, it's Ollies. They are, speaking of Walmart, they are the Walmart rejects. Jesus Christ, this fucking cesspool of fucking germination of people. They only have one register open at any given time. There's no self-checkout. Ollie's kind of banks up into a grocery store that closed down. So it's like they're trying to make the store fit into this footprint of whatever the store that they're taking over that closed down. So there's like a line, like 5 people deep. And the people that go in there are like little old ladies who don't need spend a whole lot of money. And They just want to get, their Werther's. Their Werther's hard candy type treat. They want to buy something simple. And they've got toys in there. They've got clothing in there. I use that word clothing very loosely. It's one step up from a Goodwill or a thrift store. But they do have the spices. So I go in there and I grab, all right, here's the black peppers, $5.99. Cool. That's a good deal. Here's the everything bagel. You ever bought the everything bagel in the shaky thing? How much does that go for? $9-10 somewhere? You know how much they have it at Ollie's for? $3.50. $3.50. Exact same shit. So I get all my little stuff and I walk around to see if they got any weird, treats and stuff. I found ranch flavored combos. Never seen that before. Go ahead and buy that. And I'm standing in line, and this line, one guy, not the brightest tool in the workshop, is trying to figure out how to do a cash back transaction. I don't know. He's the cashier, and they can't find her address or so. I don't know. It was a whole ordeal. Anyways, the line's backed up, 6 people deep. Little old ladies with their shopping cart and some chicken spandex trying to return an area rug. So I just sit there and I got my little the little basket that you hold stuff in, and I'm just standing there. Someone comes over. I'll take you on register 3. I'll take the first person in register 3 or at register 3. The next person in line. He kept saying it. Next person in line. I'll take him over at register 3. So there's 3 old ladies in front of me. Combined total age is 712 years old. So the one lady in front of me goes, I'm going to go over there. So she goes over there. And this younger guy, probably, I say young guy, he's like 40 years old. He's got a shopping cart full of stuff. And this little old lady who gets out in front of me, out of my line, goes over there. She's got like 4 things in there. Dog treats, toilet paper, and I don't know, like a hairnet or something. And the 40-year-old guy goes, on register 3, goes, no, ma'am, you go ahead. You go ahead. No, you were here before me. And they're arguing back and forth. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. Okay, I'll go ahead. She finally commits to it, goes in front. The girl that was returning the carpet rug, Jesus Christ, the scanner gun was not working on register 3. So they had to call a manager over to switch out the gun. I don't know why they couldn't just punch in the UPC code or whatever. I don't know. That's their world. That's the world they're living in over there. My world is, I got Dot in front of me. I've got Judith after her, and then me. That's the way the line is. And then I've got some, people are piling up behind me. I've got 4 items in my shopping basket. So they're having a hard time, The person behind me says, fuck it, leaves their shopping cart and walks out. So there's nobody behind me. So the old lady that goes over there with her hairnet and dog treats and stuff, she's like, I was better off in the line over there. Now my line's moving because they figured out how to fix whatever the problem was in front of me. My line's moving. I got Dot in front of me, and Dot's paying for her stuff, and she gets out and she, oh, do you have a reward membership? I sure do. Phone number 407 or 7. What? Oh, maybe it's this one. And she's like, scratch my head. So they figure out what her fucking rewards program is, and then I'm next. Me, I'm prepared. I got my little Ollie's card. They scan it, but before I got to the register, the little old lady's now behind me, and she's kind of like, oh, I should have stayed in this line. I'm just sitting there looking at my watch like, yep, to myself, yep, should have. You were so impatient. You're 80-something years old. You want to get out of this store so fast. You wanted to go to the quickest way out. And guess what? It bit you in the ass, lady. I'm sorry. It bit you in the ass, and I'm not letting you in front of me. Oh man, I'm feeling weak. And I'm looking at my watch going, yeah, man, if I get over there in time, I'll be in time back home. But should I have let her back in front of me? Because she left my line and went over there and said, oh, fuck it. She didn't say fuck it. She probably said curses. She was in that line. That line is now bogged up because the price gun or whatever doesn't work, and they have to switch it out, and they have to call a manager over, and the manager is a freaking sloth of a human being, can't walk fast enough to get up there because there's stuff going on and trying to get people's attention, and the old lady leaves the guy, because the 40-year-old guy was behind her, leaves him, comes up behind me, and, oh, man, I should have stayed in this. What do you got? Mind your own business, lady. You had your chance. I made the move. You had your chance. You're on your own. I'm not letting you in. I'm sorry. I sat there, stood my ground. No. Am I the asshole? Should I have let her back in front of me, back in front of the line that she left to go somewhere else on greener pastures, on better fields over there? No. That's why you just sit there and go, okay, you got to have faith in humanity. You got to have faith in the people that work there. Not at Ollie's, though. And they'll figure this out, and it'll work in your benefit. If you're just patient and you sit there and you wait and you look at them and you're like going, I know we're human beings. We can get through this. We can get through this together. We're smart people. We're better than apes. We're better than dogs. We're better than roosters. We're better than all that stuff. We can get through this. We can figure this out. And sure enough, I put all my money on the cashier, figured everything out, and I got out of the store before Ruth behind me with the dog treats and stuff, and I went on about my day. So I like to thank you guys to listen to me work all this stuff out. All right, guys, I'd like to thank you for listening to me work all this stuff out. Okay, see you, bye.